Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Tiny ADHD Superpower. Today it's episode 84 and we'll be talking about ADHD and functional impairments. So, first, ADHD features deficit in relevant neuron functions such as executive functioning, inhibition of response, and motivation to avoid delay. More specifically, ADHD is thought to primarily manifest itself in deficits in the so-called cool executive functions, which include response inhibition, maintenance, and redirection of attention and working memory. In contrast to the cool functions, ADHD also features dysfunctions in the hot executive functioning, including reward processing and motivation. Research suggests that deficit in cool functions could be linked to dysfunctions in dispersed areas in the brain, including the frontal and parietal cortex and the basal ganglia. Attention tasks in adults with ADHD reveal that they seem to engage in the left inferior and dorsal prefrontal cortices, which is PFC, less strongly than healthy controls of non-ADHD people. Meta studies confirm that reduced activity in parietal and prefrontal regions in attentional tasks and also show lower activity in the posterior basal ganglia. As for the working memory task, ADHD adults had less activity in the inferior prefrontal cortex, also in the parietal regions. Study on impulsivity via timing task point to a decreased activation in the left timing network, which spans the left inferior frontal cortex and left parietal lobe, among others. This study also found that ADHD causes increased activation in the posterior cingulate cortex, also called PCC, not PCP, PCC. Which is part of the brain's default mode network, which is DMN. We'll be talking about DMN in future episodes. Their activity also seems to decrease when performing a task, and thus the DMN is thought to be involved in a self-referential thinking and to represent the baseline activity of the brain. In addition, the different brain areas that comprise the DMN plays an important role in connecting different cortical regions. This allows for fast and efficient communication between the neurons, and dopamine helps with that. Heightened activity in this brain area usually associated with negative outcomes such as depression, anxiety, pessimism, among others, as well as a lack of concentration, fewer cognitive resources for carrying out tasks, blah, 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 blah. Hot executive functions like motivational and reward processing are thought to represent more bottom-up processes and involve different brain regions that cool functions, namely the rely on limbic and paralimbic structures. The limbic system is mainly involved in emotion response and regulation, social cognition, and memories, especially those associated with emotions. It comprises many distinct brain areas, but those more specifically proposed to be involved in ADHD are the amygdala and its connections to the orbitofrontal cortex, or called OFC, contributing to the impaired social cognition and behavior seen in ADHD patients. Lastly, research has also demonstrated that there are differences in functional connectivity in patients with ADHD, which suggests that rather than having dysfunction in isolated brain areas, ADHD patients have impairments in more widespread networks. During rest, there appears to be reduced communication between hubs of the DMN. Just think of it like, an electronic network, right? Like how the internet operates and how the network, is set up and everything. Your brain is much like that, of course, right? So, especially between the anterior cingulate cortex and the PCC. ADHD patients also seem to have reduced functional connectivity both within the DMN regions and between the DMN and frontal parietal circuits. As also mentioned before, dysfunctions in the DMN may contribute to inability to concentrate one's attention on particular stimuli due to excessive mind wandering. I don't know about mind wandering. I don't think we wonder about minds, but it seems to people like we're mind wandering, like people are stoned, but they're actually thinking. But they're just looking to space while they're thinking, that's all. During response inhibition and working memory tasks, there also appears to be reduced activity between regions in the inferior frontal cortex and the basal ganglia, the PFC and the ACC, and the parietal regions. It's also possible that deficits in functional connectivity in ADHD patients correspond to a maturational lock in the brain's development, and thus are similar to activity levels seen in younger, healthy people. This theory, however, has not been properly researched, and more research obviously are needed. So there we go. Sorry to bore you, but it's gonna be scientific based, and I want to be able to help you guys understand that more. If you have any questions, put in the comment, send me a WhatsApp message, and I will be sure to get back to you. Thank you.